Ever notice how the companies that completely reinvent their category never look like they were gambling when watching their success from the outside? It's like they just always knew. Well, they didn't. Here's the reality. Over 90% of companies see zero business growth from all their data and insight activity. And the next wave of AI tools isn't going to fix that. It's making it worse, not better. Because now the guessing just happens faster. I'm John Burshek. I've spent decades in boardrooms, from global giants to venture startups to nonprofits, watching smart companies get trapped in what I call the insight to decision gap. They gather data, they generate insights, and then nothing happens. The action dies in the meeting. I didn't learn that from a textbook. I learned it starting in 1992 in a room full of the most numbers-obsessed people on the planet. And it's where the system I still use today actually came from. Today, I'm showing you how the actionable insights to impact method, or AIM for short, works so you can stop analyzing data and start moving the business needle with customer input you can trust, because of a fundamentally different level of insights. I'm opening up the Emerson archives. The roots of this system actually take us back to a high-stakes crisis in the 1990s. Back then, the big six professional service giants, the undisputed kings of numbers, were locked in a brutal, low-margin price war. They were killing their own profitability to capture enterprise clients. James Emerson, CEO of the world's premier consulting organization to these firms, was living the crisis. He knew the industry was failing miserably at client service, but he didn't know where to start. But don't take my word for it. Here's James Emerson himself, who wrote about the AIM process and its impact on the industry.
I originally worked for Ernst & Young, but decided to leave due to increasing concerns regarding the state of the accounting tax profession. In my view, the large firms were not facing up to several major issues facing them. The area where we still fell short was in helping the industry become more effective at client service. I believe profitability could advance much further if client service improved. While I knew we needed to address the client service challenge, I frankly did not know where to start. By 1992, I decided we should begin by simply asking clients of the firms how service could improve. To help me with this, I was referred to John Burshek, a Seattle-based market research consultant. And to make a long story short, John created a statistically defensible and real-world meaningful market research methodology, which not only effectively measured client service, but was used by our clients as the baseline to improve their internal processes. The reports were segmented along the exact industry and geographic bases of the industry to make integration of the information seamless. Each year, studies were done in 15 industries and 13 geographic areas. Additionally, when you consider that this numbers-based information was being delivered to firms who were themselves the undisputed kings of numbers, the methodology had to be absolutely rock solid. John's thinking and guidance at every step was critical to helping create this best practice for the worldwide professional services industry, bringing their own clients' feedback to the decision-making table. And it was no surprise that once the firms began using the data to improve their internal processes, profits started to explode. Advertisements based on our research were placed in major national publications like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times by all of these largest professional service firms worldwide. The most significant outcome of which we were informed was movement of a multiple $100 million account to the firm who advertised they had won the Emerson Award for that specific service area. Every firm published an annual internal summary of some type which highlighted their successes from using our market research. To impact the industry even further, John was a major contributor to my definitive book on the subject of this enormous market success, Defining Client Satisfaction for Professional Services. having worked with John on a variety of research issues for the biggest professional service companies in the world. Over many years, I can confidently say he brings a unique combination of technical, delivery, and creative skills most people in any industry simply don't have. On the creative side, his mind simply doesn't stop. We and the industry definitely benefited from his creativity. Our team was great at molding his ideas into workable, meaningful products and services that had real-world business impact in the success of these companies. So the synergy was great. Having spent my entire career working with some of the world's top accountants, lawyers, and consultants, I know it is extremely, extremely rare when one person has technical delivery and creative skills such as coexist in Bershek.
The kings of numbers didn't care about fluff. They cared about structural decision-making integrity. My job wasn't to hand them a pretty report. It was to build a system. And it worked so well that the market literally moved hundreds of millions of dollars based on that data. As one of the firm's partners wrote in Emerson's book, client satisfaction has traditionally been viewed as soft and mysterious. By quantifying that linkage between client satisfaction and profitable growth, this process is the hard proof that causes one more myth to crumble. That is how you turn insight into a business weapon. But to do that today, you have to execute the non-negotiable pillars of the AIM system. And then, this is what happens when decision-grade intelligence actually drives decisions. The Emerson work proved this system holds up under the most numbers-obsessed audience in the world. But let me show you what it does for a company trying to break out of total decision paralysis. Culver's, a Midwest quick-service restaurant, had 550 locations and was just shy of crossing $1 billion in revenue. But their leadership was stuck, arguing with their own agency over the menu. Not because they lacked research or insights. They had stacks of it, pointing 5 different directions at once. We felt their tension. They were on the threshold of make or break decisions, and that is a tough place to be when you're out of options. We know that. We didn't hand them another survey. We deployed AIM. We got real customers to sell themselves inside the actual menu decisions in their own words. And Culver's acted on it. Across every sign, every menu, every campaign. And even better, their agency began to message the brand. The AIM results became their guiding North Star for branding. Today, over 1,000 locations, 26 states, and over $3.7 billion in revenue, and still going strong. That's going from decision paralysis to category leadership. What about a brand that already had name recognition? That's Wolfgang Puck. A recognizable name, though, isn't a guarantee. His team still didn't know if a premium pressure oven would actually sell outside of their core audience. Hey, we get it. That's a common challenge we see a lot. We were called in. We got real customer behavior in front of Wolfgang Puck before the launch, not after. The result? They sold more units in 20 minutes than they projected for a full week. It became one of the biggest kitchen device launches in their retail partner's history. So here's a question, same as always. Are you getting information or are you getting answers? Because those aren't the same thing. The businesses that win aren't the ones with the most data or even the most insights. They're the ones brave enough to let customer truth into the decision-making room and act on it. Trust uncomfortable real customer truth over comfortable insights, and you'll win the decisions that matter. If you're a business leader sitting on a decision like Culver's was or Wolfgang Puck's team, stop guessing. Email me directly at john@bershekresearch.com. If you're a research professional who wants us to work this exact system inside your company, drop me an email too. You can also ask about getting AIM certified to take this to your full insights team. And if you're an agency lead whose clients keep asking for certainty you can't fully deliver in-house, ask me about bringing us into your fold as your AIM embedded partner. Thank you again for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.